CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Townsville station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I just wondered if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. But you could pick up, you were trying to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and I learned that quick thing back to the past. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
That's what you have right now.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show fan page. You can find it at Martin Houston Live on Facebook and on YouTube. Also, you can find us broadcasting at Tide 109 on Facebook and at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It is a Tuesday morning, which means that we will have DC Capstone Report coming up to kick off the second quarter. He'll be joining us shortly, and we'll catch up with DC from the weekend and find out his thoughts and comments on the Heisman, on Bama hoops, and more. We'll get his thoughts on what they did and what they will have an opportunity to do coming up as well. We'll talk transfer portal. We'll talk who's in, who's out, who's going where, as that slowly begins to work itself through college football, impact of injuries to Alabama. As we look forward to the bowl game, we'll tease that just a little bit. Recruiting, big day tomorrow for the Alabama Crimson Tide and the nation. Alabama toggling back and forth as the number one recruiting class in the early signing period. Will they grab a hold and keep a hold and stay a hold of that number one spot as they wind down the last couple of days? Also, big time changes afoot in college football. Will that change have impact on the outcome of the Michigan-Georgia game and the Alabama game if it's Georgia? We'll talk about that as well. As we move throughout the morning, we want to remind you that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. We want to welcome Spencer in from Sulphur Springs, Texas. Said he can't wait for Cincy. Well, we're not talking all of Cincy, but if you want to talk about Cincy right now, we'll be glad to do that. The Alabama had several more players named to the AP poll, and we got guys teetering, Joe, on consensus and unanimous All-American status right now. We have Bryce Young, wide receiver Jamison Williams, Will Anderson, Evan O'Neal, and was second team. First three. Bryce Young, let me get it right. Bryce Young, Jamison Williams, and Will Anderson, all first team AP All-Americans. Offensive tackle Evan Neal, second team honoree, and Jordan Battle was the third team in the AP poll. The AP poll, there's consensus versus unanimous, and The reason that's important is whether or not you someday become eligible for the the College Football Hall of Fame. Some people wonder why certain players aren't in. It's because of how they were selected and which team selected them as an All-American team. And right now, the only one that's sitting with the potential, Joe, to be a unanimous All-American is Will Anderson. Will, was first team on all in the five on the first three that have picked theirs, and that's the Football Writers Association, AP, of course, American Football Coaches Association, Sporting News, and Walter Camp Foundation. And Will was picked by Football Writers Association, Walter Camp, and AP. So he's eligible, Joe, to be a unanimous All-American right now if he gets picked by the last two. And of course, you would think Bryce Young would be unanimous, but he was left off for the Walter Camp as first team All-American. So we'll see what happens with him there. And the reason I bring that up, Joe, is Will Anderson was, and I will say, if you want to see a unique article, I think you wrote that article on Tide 109 that Will Anderson was robbed again, correct?
Yes, I did.
As person of the year, because I think Elon Musk. But I thought that was pretty neat take, considering some of the frustration Alabama fans have seen with the way awards have been picked. I got a question for you, Jeff. I'm sorry. Go to Tide 109, and you can see that article I just referenced, as well as a lot of other great articles that we talk about here on this show, and some we get to, some we don't. But which one is a worse snub, Joe? Is it him not being in the Heisman, or and of course we always say that Aiden Hutchinson is the one that he should have replaced in terms of that. So is Aiden Hutchinson being picked over him for a Heisman finalist, or Jordan Davis being picked over Will Anderson for the Veterinarian Award? Which one's the bigger snub?
Oh, goodness. You're splitting hairs there. I think it's probably Jordan Davis winning the Bednarik Award over Will Anderson as the nation's top defensive player. But you make a strong case with Will Anderson having the third most first place votes. I mean, whether he was going to win it or not, you can take five. You can take as many guys as you really feel like taking. I think he should have gone for sure, even if he was going to finish fifth as he did. I think he should have had that experience.
Yeah, kind of think about that. He was the third highest first place vote getter, and they can take five, and that's why I still stand behind. They didn't want Bama to have back-to-back years. I mean, because like you said, there was no rule that said, "Oh, we can't bring him to New York." And to me, I think it would have given just some credence to the other side of the ball. We when it comes to that award, we act like football is all about just the offense. Alabama and Bryce Young probably doesn't win that Heisman without Will Anderson's and his cohorts against Auburn. You know what I mean? Because if I don't know that Bryce, he may still win it with a loss to Auburn, but I think it would have been a much bigger uphill climb. If there is no Auburn comeback victory, and there is no Auburn comeback victory if that defense led by Will Anderson doesn't play lights out, because he doesn't have his Georgia moment. Maybe, yeah, he does. He still gets it, but we've been 10-2, Joe, versus 11-1, probably, yeah. So, and
well, Mark, let me spin this conversation
in
the same topic just a little bit. You as a player can put me in this position, but Barry Sanderson brought this up the other day. What if Will Anderson is happy to be left out of those lists? I mean, if he wasn't going to win the award, you probably heard the story of what happened with the Nagurski Award. He flew to North Carolina or wherever, I think it was North Carolina, where they were giving out the awards. He basically got sat right down to take a final exam. He did the award show. He flew back to Tuscaloosa to prepare for another final exam. Barry Sanderson was contending that maybe it would be too much of a hassle or seen as just an extra thing for Will Anderson to have to do over the last week to go to New York to balance the finals. If he wasn't going to win, maybe it's a blessing in disguise to not go.
Yeah, that's being awful naive, in my opinion, to think that a kid would not want to be honored in that way, Joe. Um, you know, he's done all of this work. Um, I know as a player, if I've done something to deserve that type of honor, um, I would want to be there. I mean, I'll make the extra hassle worth the hassle. You get one chance to do that. And now he may have another chance, Joe, but a lot of things could happen between now and then. So no, I would have to disagree with Barry, and Barry's trying to find a silver lining. Um, and maybe he sees it. Maybe what's the name would even come out if you interviewed him and said that he would say that he would he was okay with the distraction. But that's life changing. I mean, especially even today, the, these guys come to school to make money. The only reason, and everybody always, when you say that, Joe, when you say these guys come to make money, people always go, oh, I mean, listen, I came to college to get a degree. You know why I came to get a degree, Joe?
To make money.
To make money. and I promise you, Will Anderson, Heisman finalist, or Will Anderson, student, takes final. One would have still happened. The other one may never happen. I think he'd take Will Anderson, Heisman finalist, versus Will Anderson. And well, I mean, he still would have been Will Anderson, student, takes final. I disagree with that. What are your thoughts on it?
Part of me part of me says, oh, okay. I don't really love to travel if I'm not. If they're like, what's the end game there? The end game obviously is that you enhance your NIL and you enhance your profile for sure. But I don't know. I think jumping on a plane, going up there, sitting for an hour to clap for your friend Bryce Young, yeah, it would be cool for sure. But I don't know if you're not going to win it. If it's best to just celebrate it in Tuscaloosa and say, hey, I got the third most first place votes, and let all Alabama fans be mad on my behalf. Well, I wonder if his profile is raised even higher over the last week out of the outrage.
I think it does. I think Will Anderson has handled it like a man. I think Will Anderson has shown a lot of class in how he handled it, Joe. And as a result, because he hadn't griped and complained, I think Will Anderson still is a popular guy. You know what I mean? Like you say, his profile. But to throw that Heisman finalist on your resume is worth money today, tomorrow, and into eternity. I would be hard pressed to think that one more trip would have bothered him. Now, some of these other awards, maybe, Joe, like the Bednarik Award or something like that, maybe, he may feel that way. But the Heisman, not because the Heisman is to me, sometimes I think the Heisman is a joke in the way it's picked and all of that. But but just the prestige of the award, I think will be good. But I now what I will tell you this, Joe, is I think that he's pulling for a head-to-head showdown in the national championship game. I think Will Anderson would love to play Michigan, and that doesn't mean. And even if Aiden Hutchinson has a better game than Will Anderson, it still won't change my opinion that Will Anderson is not only the best defensive player in the country, he just may be the second best player, if not the first best player in the country, even though his teammate in Roondog just won the Heisman. And that's the other part, Joe. Is that bond and the memory he and Bryce would have created, because I think Alabama may be sitting in an era of their football that they may have potentially two of the best all-time players on the field at the same time in the same era for the same length of time as they've ever had. I don't know if there's been two more dominant players at their respective positions, at least as sophomores, for sure. So, when was the last time we saw two guys that were talking about they should win the Heisman and that both have at least 2 years, if not 3 years, of eligibility if they so chose to use it? So, all right, coming back on the other side, we'll add DC Capstone Report to the conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show, and the Taco Casa hotline is open for business.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, traffic moving pretty well. It's quiet out there. If you do see conditions this morning, just give us a call, 205-886-8886. It's the year-end clearance, and it's going on right now at Townsend Nissan, your hometown dealer. Go see them. They need your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Are you ready to transform your vehicle? Well, you can with Three Kings Auto Spa and Detail, located at 3523 Loop Road next to the VA. They're open 7 days a week from 9 to 5, and you can even make an appointment by calling 205-210-0019. Three Kings offers several cleaning packages to fit every job at every level. Inside and out services starting at $25. Call Three Kings now at 205-210-0019.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Long live tradition. Long live Saturday nights at the rodeo and Sunday mornings in church. Today's cowboy fight to keep the Western traditions alive. For decades, Wrangler has adapted to provide cowboys the clothes they need to protect their changing lifestyles. From cowboy cut to premium patch to 31 relaxed, Wrangler is the true choice for cowboys. So head to Urban's Boots and Western Wear in Northport or on Skyline Boulevard in Tuscaloosa and find something from the Wrangler Cowboy Cut collection today. Long live cowboys.
In the midst of Christmas shopping, take time to look at the other shoppers around you. There, a young wife looking for that perfect gift for her husband. Two excited youngsters tugging daddy's sleeves to buy this or that for mommy. There, the embarrassed husband in the lingerie department. Joy is all around you. People like yourself looking for gifts for those they love most. Jesus was right. It is more blessed to give than receive. Wish the next person you see a Merry, Merry Christmas. From Taco Casa.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Another beautiful day today with a sunny sky. Tuscaloosa's high 68. For tonight, clear with a low at 47. Tomorrow is sunny with a high at 71. Thursday and Friday, partly sunny and very mild. Highs between 72 and 75. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 41 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com. I'm Martin Houston, and I really get excited during football season, but nothing excites me as much as the Christmas holiday season. On behalf of the Alabama One family and the Martin Houston Show, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please stop by one of our branch locations because we'll be open to serve you throughout the Christmas season. And don't forget, you can visit alabama1.org. And once again, Merry Christmas from Alabama One. You're back in with the Martin Houston Show. Thanks to the great folks at Alabama One Credit Union. You can find them at alabama1.org. All of your traditional credit union services, as well as land and ag, commercial lending, and also you can find wealth advisory, insurance, and technology support. All of that and more at Alabama One together. Go to alabama1.org and find out more about all of these great things. And hey, listen, if you're definitely in the market for a car for the Christmas holidays for yourself and or your teenager, great rates abound. Go to alabama1.org. All right, let's continue the conversation. We'll bring in DC Capstone Report. DC, good morning. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, Martin. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. I know it's kind of our first mini off season until the playoffs. Of course, there'll be a lot of bowl games between now and the playoffs. But Bama fans, we're ready for the big game, and we'll be talking about that. But let's get caught up with you from the weekend. Alabama brings home back-to-back Heisman Trophies. Just talk about Bryce Young and that young man and bringing home that award.
Well, I just think it's just historical to see Alabama bringing home back-to-back Heisman Trophies. To think before Nick Saban got to the University of Alabama, we had 0 Heisman Trophies, and then now we brought home back-to-back trophies, and not to mention just that's so historical, but having Bryce Young a sophomore, and not only a sophomore, but a person who he himself said was always put upon or talked upon about being too short or too this or can't do this. And just to have him be able to stand up on that stage and represent all those out there who've been told they couldn't do it, and it's not without a doubt. I don't think there's any doubt that he was the Heisman Trophy winner. 83% of the people said so. We're talking about the outrage of Will Anderson Jr. not being there, but I don't want to take anything away from Bryce Young and all of his accomplishments and what he is, the way he's handled himself. It's a credit to him and his family, how he was raised, and his faith, and also to Nick Saban, who goes out and finds the best talent, and as you know, best talent sometimes it's not enough. You also have the best character, and I think he's found a person in Bryce Young that really epitomizes that, all that Coach Saban looks for. So I was really impressed with him, impressed with the whole situation. We've been talking about the snubs, and my thought, there's a bigger snub than Will Anderson here, and that is, how do you leave Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner quarterback, off the Walter Camp? that is a huge snub. And then I think something else was pointed out that nobody's talking about. I've always said the Heisman Trophy way it was. I didn't think it was very good the way they vote for it, but that some of the reporters who really take it seriously have said that the over 100 ballots that did not have Bryce Young on a ballot, didn't have first, second, or third, those people need to have serious consideration about the seriousness of how they take the Heisman Trophy.
Well, I think his name is Couch, was a guy who said he literally admitted and tweeted out him and many others. He said, I'm not sophisticated enough, and meaning he doesn't know the game, and he doesn't take the time. He literally said, to your point, he said, Will Anderson very well is probably the best player in college football, but I didn't see him enough. And I'm thinking, with reviews, replays, and all of that, if you're voting for the Heisman, that should not be the case. Even if you have to take a weekend and go back and just look at film from, the players who were kind of in that conversation, because it was all kind of the same guys, the Kenny Pickett's and Kenneth Walker's and Will Anderson's and Aiden Hutchinson's and C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young were all kind of in that conversation. So we'll continue that Heisman conversation. But Tom has been holding for you, DC. So we'll go ahead and get him in the conversation. Tom, you're in with DC. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, good morning, Mark. Good morning, DC. How y'all? Good morning.
Doing good.
Morning. I'm doing great, man.
Great. I want to talk basketball if y'all don't care.
Not at all. Go right ahead.
Oh, not at all, Tom. You know me. I love basketball.
Yeah. And after the last 2 weeks, I couldn't wait to get on the phone with the two of you about basketball. So thanks for taking my call. DC, I'm kind of beside myself. We go out and beat Gonzaga, and then we come back and then we beat Houston, both top-ranked teams, and we play. I think some really good basketball. But here's what I wanted to bring up and get both of y'all to talk about this is how we won against different things that different coaches had put to us. And to me, it started back at the exhibition game with Louisiana Tech, because they came in and they really surprised me at how good a basketball team they was, and then the way they played, and then South Alabama comes in and they blow my mind, but they got a different style with some really good talent, all this kind of stuff. Just think to how we've adapted. I mean, even during the game, the adjustments that we're making in game have been so impressive to me from the coaching staff of the basketball team.
Yeah, I think that Nate Oates has done a tremendous job of coaching basketball, but he's done a better job of changing the culture of the Alabama basketball team. And I think what you're speaking of is one of those things that he's quietly done, and that is put in a culture that can adapt, that can change. In times past, we had teams that were one-dimensional. They could play offense, but couldn't play defense. Could play defense, but couldn't play offense. We could shoot the ball, but we couldn't rebound. And this is a team that can do multiple facets of basketball, and that's what you have to have in order to run a deep run into the NCAA. So he's not just built a team; he's built a program. And within that program, we all say we say it so vividly now, but he has a process that these players have bought into. And this process is helping him to adapt. Now, I think what you're pointing out here is so important for if our listeners know anything about basketball. You have to have a multifaceted basketball team to be able to compete in a NCAA tournament, because you're going to face teams that have completely different strengths. And this Houston team, that was a really tough inside rebounded team. And what I'm so excited about, Tom, is we haven't played our best game yet. We haven't even gelled the team. And so that's what I'm so excited about.
Yeah, and Tom, Tom, I would add to that. Think about this. How did everybody expect us to win this year? Doing what? Making a lot of threes, right? Yeah. Making a lot of threes. But when you look at Gonzaga, Shackelford had an unbelievable game. But they didn't let us just go wild on the 3-point line, and we had to find other ways to win in that game. Okay, Houston was not going to let us get threes off, and we beat them without a bunch of threes as well. And as DC said, Houston offensive rebounds. I mean, we're going to have to get that fixed. But if you go back, even last year and the year before under Nate Oates, but definitely prior to him, Alabama doesn't win that type of game. Physical, out rebound on the boards the way they were, we don't win those games. And we found a way to win because at the right time, someone steps up. I told someone yesterday, when you say out loud, Juwan Gary led the team, that tells you what in scoring. That probably tells you what type of game it was. It was a physical game, and he was. And I'm being serious. He was one of the guys that I think he thrives in a physical type of game. It seemed like the more physical they played, the harder he played. Hustle plays, finishing at the rim, even knocked down a three early. So when Juwan Gary leads this type of team in scoring, you know that Alabama has figured out how to have and create balance and go with the hot hand.
Most definitely. I think also a microcosm of that, Martin, is in the Gonzaga game where Coach says, okay, we're going to make a run at their big 7-footers, and we're not going to let them beat us, and we're going to use everything. So you go out there and play your heart out, and you do whatever you need to do. We saw that in 3 or 4 of our guys having 4 fouls at one point, but everyone went out there and played a tough physical game against their 7-footers. They turned that around, and what was so important, we wouldn't worry about losing somebody. If you lose one of them, you had confidence in the others that were there.
Right.
And I think he has confidence in other players on this team that we don't have to have one player carry us. We can have a Juwan Gary have a game like he had against Houston because we need him to have that game. We can have a guy like Keon Ellis have a game like he had against Gonzaga, or Shackelford to have a game like he had against Gonzaga, because he has trust. I think one thing that he has built in this culture is the culture of trusting the others on the team. And when you get that team to buy into that kind of thing, you can have a deep run in the NCAA tournament.
I wanted to commend Javon Quinn. I mean, I just didn't get over the quality of passing that he was making in the first half of that game. I mean, it was unbelievable how he was, we were getting those 2 corners, if you would, in the first of the game. But Barry Sanderson said this, and I agree, that was such a high level game. We'll not run into another team. They may be as good, but they won't be better rebounders than what Houston was, and they won't be any better defensively than Houston was. Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
I was going to say this, Martin. One thing that's been the best thing for Javon Quinley has been J.D. Davis. It's one thing to know you're the guy, and you got to have the guy the whole time and try to save yourself for the full game. When you know you got somebody else to come in and play the board as good as you can really play your heart out and get a rest when you need it. And I think it's really helped Javon Quinley better than anything.
Yeah, and I think Quinley played a good game. I will say that he has to realize when Houston started jumping the passing lanes after he kicked it out to the threes a couple times, and he should have finished at the rim. And I know sometimes he flips it up at the rim and you get upset, but he had changed their defense a couple times, DC, where he had a shot to the rim and then he kicked it out. And Houston was great at offensive rebounding, great team defense, and great at jumping, what they call jumping the passing lanes. And Quinterly, a couple times got too cute, I thought, at the rim. But overall, the team just played great. I only point that out not because of the way that game turned out, but it could be key somewhere down the road. And Virgil Williams pointing out, once again, we shot 77% from the free throw line, and of course, you win by one point. in a tightly contested game, free throws will always be a part of maintaining that lead. It was unfortunate the way the game ended, from Nate Oates' handshake extension to the coaches kicking the chairs. But you have to point out, Shed, the young man, the sophomore point guard, DC. It's good to see that type of character that he displayed in that moment when he picked up the trash. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
I thought it was one of the best things that happened out of that game. I thought both sides at the end could have handled it with more class, but I don't think anyone had any more class than that young man, Shed. His parents raised him correctly. Someone has taught him in life how to handle adversity, and he showed. And I feel like he's the one that needs to get the credit for kind of showing others on that Houston team and how it should be done. And in my opinion, this might be a turning point for that young man. He might become the leader that his plan has always been for him to be by just displaying that kind of character in a time of adversity.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk, if you want to talk more basketball, please call us at 205-342-9904. Taco Casa Hotline. Alabama has a big game coming up against Memphis. Also, a couple questions I want to ask you, DC. Be thinking on big change over in Georgia. Does that help or hurt the Georgia Bulldogs? And Dan Lanning heading out to Oregon, help or hurt the Georgia Bulldogs in the upcoming matchup? I do want to circle back and ask you about that awesome video as well. You're listening to the Martin Houston Show with DC Capstone Report on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks, traffic moving pretty well. It's quiet out there. If you do see conditions this morning, just give us a call. 205-886-8886. It's the year-end clearance, and it's going on right now at Townsend Nissan, your hometown dealer. Go see them. They need your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
I'm Micah Fink, a veteran, a former Navy SEAL, and founder of Heroes and Horses. I'm with Boot Barn to talk about the power of being present. The holiday season, to me, should be a time of reflection. No matter what your modality is in life, no matter what you do, no matter what your experience is, it's a time to slow down and evaluate and then connect with the people that you love. And I think the greatest gift that you could give anybody in your life is the gift of time. Boot Barn. Share the West.
Tuscaloosa Tire and Service. They've got the big brands you know and trust. Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, Cooper, and they can finance for you as well. When you need routine maintenance and alignment, a tune-up, whatever it is, belts, hoses, just basic stuff, or when you don't know what's wrong with your car, truck, or SUV, make it Tuscaloosa Tire and Service. They're dependable, they're trustworthy. That's why they've lasted for over 36 years. Skyland Boulevard, McFarland Boulevard East in Northport on Norleen Wallace Boulevard. Check out the website, TuscaloosaTireandService.com.
Colleen, can you run back and wrap that? No, oh, you've got a customer.
The holidays came early for the Hendricks Boutique.
Yes, we'll be open even later when it gets.
They'll need a temp fulfillment manager to tie up the holiday loose ends.
I need some more help at the register. Somebody? Oh, Sherry.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We've gotten some comments over on chat regarding Bama basketball. CJ Watson saying it's been a while since we've not had to say the fact that so goes the star, so goes Bama. This is a complete team. It's not a surprise when one guy, any of the starters and players can carry the load, and it's not a shock when they don't. And then Virgil Williamson also including the inside game dose. Pick and rolls against Houston were awesome to see. Still need to get a little stronger down low. But all in all, a great addition to the old style of play. Bama Hoops, big time, with a chance to have potentially the three biggest wins in a row, DC. Thoughts on Alabama and Memphis real quick, and then we'll get to Allen, who's waiting on the phone.
Well, I think Alabama-Memphis is a great matchup. Memphis is a great team, got probably the talent. Penny Hardaway coaching them. So much talent, probably the most talent we've seen. They aren't having a good year because they haven't gelled yet, but they can gel at any time and provide a very formidable opponent tonight. So Alabama can't go in there with a letdown, can't go in there with too much confidence to be cocky. They got to go in there and play their best if they did against Gonzaga and Houston. If they do that, they can come out with a huge victory on the road. And, who would have thought when you looked at the before you started this season, just before the season started, you'd be playing those three games or those three teams and had so much success that you've had so far. So this could be a really, really big offseason.
Absolutely. And, of course, still looming out there in the future, I think a much improved SEC as a whole, tougher, deeper, thicker, stronger, more physical SEC, but also opportunity against Baylor. This team is definitely building itself to be a tough out as they continue to gel. Allen,
they have an undefeated Colorado State team that's going to play here in Birmingham. So that's another big team to overlook.
Yeah, another. Well, the one game they dropped, free throws were atrocious, and it was literally the difference in the game. So, complete team, and we'll continue to watch it and talk about it, and we'll break down that game. But we got Allen. Allen, you're in with DC. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing well, and you?
I understand that Kentucky has been a blue blood all these years and will continue to be a blue blood. But do you think that Alabama's take over the throne as the team to beat in the SEC?
DC?
I think that they've gone a long way to do that the last year and now so far this year. But I think you probably have to have a few more years under your belt to say you ascend above Kentucky. But I think for this year, Alabama is probably the team to beat. They're the highest ranked team in the polls. And one thing that most people don't know, Alan, is if you followed Alabama basketball as long as I have and know the history of it, second most winning SEC basketball program in the history of basketball is the University of Alabama. And, everybody talks about Kentucky, and Alabama's always been an afterthought. But during the years of C.M. Newton and Wimp Sanderson, we were the team to beat in the SEC, and I think we're ascending back to that.
I go back all the way back to Eddie Phillips, Philip Lockett, Mike Davis, Enos Watson. I go back a little way.
Yeah, and this is what Alabama. I think Alabama. A couple things, Alan. I think they have to that glass ceiling. Auburn broke it a couple years ago. I think if Alabama basketball breaks it, good things are ahead. But let me tell you where Alabama basketball is. Alan, we better start writing Nate Oates and tell him, please don't leave. And then we need to tell Nick Saban, go over and tell him the pros is not what it's cut out to be. And then we need to put Miss Terry Saban on talking to Miss Oates about how much more fun college athletes are than pro athletes, because the NBA right now, there are teams that are already thinking, okay, if we don't make a run, let's start positioning ourselves to go after Nate Oates, because I think his game translates to the NBA extremely well.
Well, I have one more comment. I'm glad you brought that up. In order to keep him, do you think that we're going to get another facility?
Yep. I think so.
I think that's in the works already.
Yep, I think so. Absolutely, Alan. That's what. And right, Greg Burns, tell him get your wallet out, and tell all Alabama fans that love basketball. And let me tell you something. As a football player, Bama hoops, Wimp Sanderson helped us in the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s. People don't realize that. As football players, when you come to visit, your visit, Alan, to be able to go over and watch basketball that's fun and exciting and improve your college experience is huge. And Nate Oates, there's not a coincidence that Florida, when they had Donovan and Myers, that they were really good together. And I think we potentially have a chance to have that same type of partnership between Oates and Saban, and only help Bama recruiting in both sports.
Yeah, I think the narrative, the national narrative about Alabama basketball, of Alabama being only a football school, and Alabama basketball is changing again. So, Martin, I think you can speak to that too. It used to not be the way it is now, but I think we've always been determined a football school. But the national narrative is beginning to change a little bit. A friend of mine, Mark Sullivan, his dad, Paul Sullivan, played on the great Alabama basketball team long ago. And he was telling me that loss to Iona, him and some of his buddies were talking, and they were marveled at the fact that the ESPN lead that night said Iona upset top-ranked basketball pro team. And he said, hey, that's us. They're talking about us. We're a top-ranked basketball team.
That's right.
So the national narrative changed a little bit about Alabama basketball, and that helps recruiting tremendously.
Absolutely. Coming back on the other side, we'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show with DC Capstone Report.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, starting to see an increase in traffic around town. US 43 slow at McFarland and Marlene slow through Northport in the downtown. If you see other conditions, give us a call. It's the year-end clearance, and it's going on right now at Townsend Nissan, your hometown dealer. Go see them. They need your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning, the Northport City Council has taken another step toward withdrawing students within the city from the Tuscaloosa County school system and starting their own. They voted unanimously to hire a Chelsea-based law firm to give feedback on potential tax referendums and possible annexation of unincorporated areas of the county surrounding the city. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free on Hartley Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing LLC.
Is finding seasonal help on your wish list? You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform for interviewing, screening, and hiring high-quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Ho, ho, ho! Bob Baumhauer here, and Baumhauer's Victory Grill is kicking off the holiday season right. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to our homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course our world famous buffalo wings. We've got your holiday meals covered with our legendary party ready trays. And what's a holiday party without gifts? Now through December 24th, get a $5 bonus card with every $25 in gift cards purchased. Plus our signature sauces make great stocking stuffers too. Merry Christmas!
You know when you order a new video game, or a golf club, or a blender, and then it arrives at your door, you get a little thrill. Imagine how much more thrilling it is when you order a new car. With Nissan at home, you can shop for the perfect ride and order it without ever having to go anywhere. Sure beats a golf club or a blender. Buy a new car entirely online with Nissan at home, delivered direct from dealer to driveway. Thrill starts here. Services may vary at participating dealers, subject to applicable law. See dealer for details.
Hello, I'm Martin Houston, and while I get really excited about football season, I love the holiday season even more. Merry Christmas from the Tide 109 family and the Martin Houston Show. Roll Tide. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We got DC Capstone Report on with us. DC, tell our listeners where they can find you, sir.
Oh, you can find me at DCCapstoneReport.com and DC Capstone Report Facebook page. You can follow me on Twitter at DavidCot50. Check out Lance's other sites at RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com.
All right, DC, couple rapid fire conversations. How hype was the Devontae Smith Bryce Young video? I mean, I thought the little tie-in at the end of who knew his first touchdown was Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah, I thought that was huge. I thought that was great to do that. Devontae Smith was great to do that in the middle of his, NFL season, and just the Alabama staff for putting that together. But I retweeted on my feed, and it's been one of the most engaged videos out there. So I think it's been just a really, really good thing. But yeah, one Heisman to another, who would have thought? I think that could be a great commercial for Deson in the coming Heisman house.
Yeah. Think about that. Our quarterback will be able to go to the Heisman house while he's still playing. So that'll be interesting. I thought that, and I'm going to talk more about this topic, but how good was it to see those few clips and helping us understand Bryce Young, seeing him with his mom and dad, and then of course his dad being a mental health professional, kind of explains Bryce Young.
Huge to see how Bryce Young can handle at his young age adversity and things of anxiety so well, and you can tell that his dad had a big influence on him. But also his mom. I saw him say they asked him who was the better athlete, his mom or his dad. He quickly said his mom. So mom very good in his life as well.
Hey, I guess we need to give Cliff Kingsbury a shout out, right? He was the first one to offer Bryce Young a scholarship to come play quarterback when he was still in college, and of course that changed Bryce from thinking he was going to go play point guard to becoming the nation's best quarterback.
Yeah, most definitely. It's good. There's a great talent evaluators out there that overlook the height and the other things that everybody else takes a look for.
Yeah, and that kind of explains why he's coaching the young man he's coaching now in the NFL.
he looked at playmaking ability and not at height and measurements. And Bryce Young continues to defy the odds, I guess is a good way. But I told someone,
I think that Bryce Young is epitomized in his own is not the way the world sees him, but the way he sees himself. You know, when you ask him what quarterback he models himself after, he didn't say Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield. He said Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
He sees himself much bigger than everybody else sees him, and that's why you can't ever give up on a young man like that.
Yeah, and I love the fact that he said that it wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about proving to himself that he could be the best. That is a lesson that we could all learn. He is self-motivated, intrinsically motivated to be the best, not outwardly, because if he was outwardly motivated, DC, then he's reached his pinnacle because everyone else has said he's great now. But
and he was true to his faith as well. He was well grounded in his faith, and that's why you can see when he smiles at 4th down and 19 yards, it wasn't too big for him because he knew nothing was too big for him with God.
Absolutely. What a great young man. Want to get your thoughts real quick because this is going to be a conversation as well. Lanning going to Oregon, does it impact the two games if Georgia, especially if Georgia were to figure out and not figure out, but get the win over Michigan, how that impacts potentially the national championship game if Alabama gets past Cincy?
Well, I think it has to impact either game that Georgia plays. And the reason I say that is you can't have a change like this and not impact it in some way. That person who's leaving and trying to stay and do is get your feet and put two places. You have to be able to do your job well. And then that just alludes to the fact that you can't do your job well in both places.
Did you?
Then,
go ahead.
If you were to transition and leave, and then you got somebody else trying to do it, that hurts the team as well. So I don't think it's a help to Georgia in any way.
Well, hey, I thought the same thing, DC, and I'll leave you with this thought, and you may add it to your conversation. It actually could help Georgia, and I know that sounds crazy. They elevated Muschamp. They already had a co-defensive coordinator, and Lanning is staying, but he's not going to be the DC nor co-DC. They just flipped. In other words, Kirby learned from his own experience and Nick Saban experience. So we'll talk about what that means. Will Alabama potentially play a totally different defense with new tendencies? So we'll break that down next week as we get closer, DC. But I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I thought the same thing. I talked to a Georgia man, and he was like, "Hey, we're excited about the change." So DC, let them know where they can find.
Change, but I don't think that you can change something that fast and have it all gel together. Too many people want to go back to what they were doing before.
We'll talk about it more. We'll break it down. I don't think it's ever great when you have change unless you have a plan for that change. And it looks like Kirby may have been prepared for Lanning to make a move. Tell them real quick where they can find you, DC.
Well, before I do that, let me say this. I don't want to use that time to tell where to find me. This Saturday at Harvest Church, we're giving away food and toys to everyone in need. I think that's the big time of Christmas to help us show the love of Jesus. So I just want to use my time to say, hey, if you need anything, come out to Harvest Church, 10 o'clock Saturday morning, food and clothes. I mean, food and toys given away this coming Saturday morning. So thank you for allowing me to be on your show, and Merry Christmas and Roll Tide.
All right, that's Harvest Church giving away food and toys to those who are in need. If you like to be a recipient, 10 o'clock is when it starts until gone. That's Harvest Church in Coker, Alabama. Thanks, DC. Coming back on the other side, we will we won't continue. You will be talking with the guys at Inside the Locker Room. Thank you. Remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports.
You too, Joe. Have a good one, man.
Streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.